Welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. Rob Sanders.
Some would be entertained by it. Some would be horrified by
Kale
it.
Carolina Jackpot Hall.
All would be interested in it.
The Rob and Kale podcast.
Let's go.
And welcome to the Rob and Kale podcast. I'm Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us this evening. Got a jam-packed show for you. We've got to talk about South Carolina beating the holy piss out of Kentucky last night. We've got also from the Kentucky fans.
Sound right?
Yeah, plenty of those. We'll have that in a moment. We'll get to Clemson's football schedule and whatever else you would like to bring to the program. But first, let me welcome in my podcast co-host. He is the best damn Gamecock YouTuber on the planet. Sorry to everybody who tries to be him. He was last night in the chicken coop down there at the Colonial Life Arena watching his Gamecocks beat the holy hell out of Kentucky. He is Mr. Carolina Jackpot, Kale Hall. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? We're back like we never left. Got a little audio stuff going on there, Rob. But, hey, great night last night. Good to see some people over here in the chat. We might have a tough time getting viewers tonight. I saw that over on the Talking Vols channel, they were doing a charity stream. I don't know if that was for, I don't know, the Futnut Foundation. I don't really know what kind of charity they support over there, but I'm sure it's great stuff. They didn't have the Hollywood Squares of Delusion. There was only 3 of them there, but anyway, we're going to try to do our best.
Well, we're going to have our show regardless, and we're going to do our show anyway. I mean, Tennessee folk will head to that, and that's on them.
Yeah, they had
Whatever.
like 500 something people there watching it. That was the Futnut Foundation.
Well, stuff like that used to bother me, but it really doesn't anymore. Let them do their thing.
I don't know, and I'm probably saying something out of school here. They might be really supporting a good cause. I don't know. Maybe like for educational purposes there in their state, because they certainly do need to raise money for that, I'm sure. But anyway.
Raising money for fluoride. Maybe that's part of it. Who knows?
Fluoride treatments.
Fluoride treatments, exactly. All right, so before we get started, for folks that follow the show, you know, Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport, has sponsored this show forever. Back when the comrade and I would get about 12 listeners, Dennis Wilson sponsored the show, and he looks out for the show. I'm not going to completely get into it. Dennis is having some health issues. If you pray to God, Buddha, whoever, say a prayer for Dennis Wilson, one of the coolest guys that you'll ever know. And pray for Dennis Wilson.
Yeah, he's been around since the fledgling days.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's been here, and if we need something for the show, I just call him and he does it. And it's not even like it's not even a big ask. It's like, all right, hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to go. I mean, Dennis, and the guy should be the mayor of freaking Swansea. He helps out everybody down there. If there's a sports team, he sponsors it. I mean, the guy was auctioning off his guns, like these really big, important gun things to help out different organizations around Swansea to help make the sports better there for kids. Over the top, great guy. So anyway, pray for
like he was auctioning off like his artillery, his weaponry, guns, or the pythons.
Oh no, Dennis doesn't have pythons. Let's not get into that. Dennis had he had to go and get some guns. So
hey, I wanted to debunk some bullshit real quick here. Chris in Georgia says Todd Helton made the Hall of Fame. He's only the second SEC player ever to make Cooperstown. Insane stat to me. Okay, that's true. What is not true, what is not mentioned there and is bullshit, is that Andrew Jones wasn't voted into the Hall of Fame. How do you compete with 10 gold gloves in a row? Todd Helton hit a bunch of fucking home runs in thin air and didn't do dick anywhere else.
the Gold Glove thing is something that's weird to me because Andrew Jones has all of those. Chipper Jones played at a high level for a long time and has 0 Gold Gloves. So I don't know. Sometimes I think the Gold Glove thing is kind of out there. The person to talk with about that is the comrade. He's a fucking baseball nerd, but Jones should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's got 500 homers, doesn't he? Didn't that used to be like the standard there? Let me look that up. I mean, let me look it up.
He's close. You know, his career was like, he started. I mean, he started when he was 19, so he was virtually done by the time he was 30.
So 434 home runs over his career. I'm trying to see what he batted as far as his batting average goes. Let me see if I can pull that up here. So career batting average of 254. Maybe that's part of it. You know, he struck out a lot. That's true, but still hit in the 234 range. Look at his best season here. Didn't he win? He won an MVP, right? Yeah, he was an All-Star and an MVP in 2000. Back-to-back MVPs in 2002, 2003. I'm looking. Maybe this is for the All-Star game, but I mean, he was lights out great. You know, that stretch there in Atlanta, he hit in 2005. He hit 51 homers and 128 RBIs. I mean, that is. What else do you need? You know, I don't get it.
I don't get it. You know, funny story about him. My friend Matthew Matman Harris of 93.3 The Planet up here in the upstate. When I want to say we were like maybe 21, 22. He was working part-time at a baseball card shop here in Greenville when it was in college, and actually they had a signing. Andrew Jones was signing autographs at this baseball card shop, and he actually picked him up from wherever he was dropped off at to bring him to the shop to sign the autographs, and then took him back to wherever. And my friend Matthew's carrying him around in like his old 92 Ford Ranger pickup. He's like, "You want something to eat?" And I think that Andrew Jones requested chicken and rice. And I don't remember where he got it from because there weren't as many restaurants here then, right? I mean, you either had like high end or you had McDonald's. But anyway, he took him somewhere and got Chipper or Andrew Jones some chicken and rice. I don't know where he took him. He maybe even took him to his mama's house. But yeah, it's interesting shit.
That is interesting. So, Chris, with a comment, I actually agree with something with Chris tonight. Derek Jeter's the most overrated Hall of Famer. That guy, I wrote about Derek Jeter and his herpes tree because if you look at the stars that he gave herpes, including Mariah Carey, I mean, there's like a list of starlets that he gave the herp to, and eventually it ended up his herpes tree extends to Justin Timberlake. I mean, he gave basically everybody herpes. That's probably why he's the herp king.
So they passed it around, in other words.
Yeah. So there's that. Anyway, yeah,
well,
I agree.
When I think of great baseball players, like, yeah, I know he was really popular. I know he was really pretty, but I don't think of him. I mean, I'm sorry. He doesn't even, he's not even on my radar.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I would think of A-Rod. I mean, I didn't think A-Rod was overrated. I didn't like him. Because he was another one of those pretty motherfuckers, but he was damn good. Well, but, yeah, I mean, he also didn't have Bryce Harper is the one that I think no one can really stand unless he happens to be playing for your team.
Bryce Harper could be on fire. I wouldn't piss on him.
You know, pretty boy who, you know, talks shit but backs it up, and you don't like him, and it sucks, but you have to move on.
Yeah, you have to move on. I fuck that guy.
I was at a Braves game. I think it was in like 2013 or 2012 at Old Turner Field when I used to take Jackpot Jr. a lot when he played for the Nationals, and we beat him on a Sunday afternoon, and he struck out to end the game. That was old. Who would that have been? Old Craig Kimbrell.
Mm-hmm.
Striking him out. So yeah, that was pretty good. That one was pretty good. All right,
yeah. Andrew Jones should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. By the way, the Derek Jeter herpes tree. Let's see here. Who all's on it? I know Mariah Carey. That was the one. Who were the others? I got the whole list of them here.
I don't know about that tree, but I'm telling you what tree's starting to get some branches on it is the Shane Beamer coaching tree. So we've seen 2 coaches in the last 3 weeks in that staff leave to take head coaching positions. Coach Jody Wright at Murray State in the Ohio Valley Conference. And then Pete Limbo gets another crack at being a head coach this past Sunday, taking the job at Buffalo. And I'm seeing people like all over online hating on that hire or that decision by him to leave an SEC program to go coach at a shithole like Buffalo. Did Lance Leopold put Buffalo on the fucking map? I mean, he was winning 10, 11 games up there. He was winning the MAC, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it's fallen on hard times the past couple of years since he's been gone, but that's not a shitty program.
No, I mean, and people love that guy. So
people are ignorant, and I mean, he was making $750. I think it was $750 a year at South Carolina. He'll get a nice. I don't know what his compensation ended up being there. I didn't really see that published. I mean, I would think probably around the $2 million mark, maybe. Just guessing.
Yep. He's going to get some money, and why not go? Let me wrap up the Derek Jeter's herpes tree because Big Barney Ross was talking about it. It includes Jessica Alba, Scarlett Johansson, Mariah Carey. I mean, there's just a list of women that he slept with, and then they went on to sleep with Mark Wahlberg, Eminem, Justin Timberlake, Nick Lachey. I mean, they all got the herp because of Derek Jeter, the king of the herp. So there's that. You learned something on the program this evening. Jackpot, we got to get into last night's basketball game. Jackpot came down to the Colonial Life Arena, and going in, Jackpot, did you think, hey, we got a shot in this game? Did you have that in you?
Yeah, I knew we were going to win. I knew we would. We and I think I sent you a little clip of some folks kind of upset a little bit earlier that I talked to. Yeah, I talked to last night, and yeah, I mean, I knew we were going to win.
Around this place before the game, I was disgusted.
What's
the smugness of those guys just walking around like, we're going to walk in here, we're going to kick your ass, and you can't do anything about it. And it made me sick. And you know what? They did it. They still did it. What the hell? Can we just beat this team? I know.
Calipari.
A lot of good things. This is his one really bad thing. The stupid stat about beating teams with a winning record and taking the next step and blah blah. Just freaking beat Tennessee.
South Carolina.
Please, can we just stop losing to this stupid team with their stupid
Garnet,
their stupid song, and their woo, get their woo on out of here.
Yeah. He needed some help. He really did. So he needed some counseling or something. I wasn't able to give it to him, so I had to kind of walk away from him.
Yeah,
Gary.
I'll tell you what. So before we get into the sour grapes, though, let's hand out some I guess flowers is the term here. I thought Kentucky was going to go in there and be too much for South Carolina in the paint. South Carolina basically dusted them off. Yeah, you got to give props to the Gamecocks for winning that game, and it's.
Well,
we're going to have our Callaway's bracket challenge before too long. If South Carolina's not in the tournament this year, I would be fucking shocked.
In all seriousness, Antonio Reeves, the guard for Kentucky, they asked him on that same Kentucky Sports Radio program after the game. They interviewed him and asked him if it was like a little 2-minute clip, if this was the most physical team they had played all year, and he said they were. It's insane. When your men's basketball team is more physical than your football team. That's a problem.
Oh, my God. Well,
that's a problem, Rob.
What was it? The first comment of the day was from Tiger in the Burrow up there, and he said, we finally have something in common. Kentucky sure hates the state of South Carolina right now. Yeah. I mean, Clemson and South Carolina beat them both in football, and then the Gamecocks hammered them in basketball. Yeah, I mean, crazy.
And
point.
I was waiting. It was about, when it goes about 5 minutes left, I think, in that game, and I pretty much, I'm like, yeah, we got this. You always, kind of clock watch on things like that when we're going to pull an upset.
Right.
But when it got to that point, I'm like, yeah, they're just, they just didn't have it. And be honest with you, it just didn't look like there was a lot of desire there to make a comeback.
All right,
and the
so
thing about it is, the funny thing about it is, we actually helped Clemson, right? In a weird way.
you did with the improvement in the net rankings, which changes all the time. Of course, Kentucky fans, we won't see Bluegrass Sports Media tonight. I told you Big Barney Ross would show up, and he did, because Big Barney Ross,
Big Barney Ross is not a bitch.
Yeah, Big Barney Ross probably has nuts that scrape on the snow up there at his house. He's going to show up regardless. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we welcome in the Kentucky fans. I'm sure that'll watch this later on.
Big Barney Ross's nuts are in a different zip code than his house.
Probably. As we bring you...
Hey, bum, bum, bum. Got any grapes?
Yes. Sour grapes this evening. Jackpot sent me a couple of these, and then I've got one that I've found too. This is from Calipari when he did his thing here. Jackpot, you want to read this? Or you want me to do it?
Comments on his video press conference. This gentleman here, Clinton Ray 1032, says Cal's been stealing money from UK for a long time now. He points out the problems with his teams and never remedies them. That's a problem. I think he's clueless, honestly. You are not to my liking. So someone who points out facts is not real well received there, I guess.
Yeah, it's silly. Next one is, this one says, Tar Heel fan here. I love it when Kentucky loses, but that South Carolina team would have beaten any team that suited up tonight, Carolina included. You can't beat a team that's throwing up ridiculous three-pointers from across the street and driving the low post the way they did. Nope. No one could have beat them. Let's all pray this was an anomaly.
The Tar Heel man is praying that South Carolina doesn't stay hot. Got it.
What a mess.
Let's all pray.
There's another one here from Calipari's conference. Robert Clark 2240 says, if SC is too physical for you, there goes the season. I'm out until you win a regional. Bye.
Someone brave.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The next one's one I found. This is from fifth quarter Kentucky. It says, this one we look back after we win the SEC tourney and laugh at it. And then says, losing to Lamont fucking Paris and a ragtag group of bums 2 years in a row pisses me off more than anything. Unacceptable.
Someone brave.
Yeah, and then
I saw one today on Twitter that's interacting with a Gamecock account, Gamecock Dave, that mentioned Michie Johnson, and they, and how we were getting away. We were getting away with being too physical, and that they wish that one of their scrubs had, quote, clotheslined that little pineapple-headed prick.
Jesus. The sour.
Someone brave.
Mad at Michie Johnson. This is Jason Catro 8148 says Carolina coach is broke after all the money he gave to the refs to win this game. Wow.
Tell me the duck story. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, a duck.
Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly.
Jesus.
What a mess. What a mess that the Kentucky fans are right now, but hey, it's not that far-fetched. South Carolina's, I think, going to make the tournament, and you got to give credit to Coach Paris. From the outside looking in, he took a roster. I think they were picked to finish, 10th or worse?
I thought they were finished last.
Hold on, I'll look that up.
Maybe I'm wrong. Or close to it.
I'm pulling it up right now. We'll see here. Media days, basketball. I'm pulling it up right now. But, they were picked near the bottom. And
Them and Georgia, Vanderbilt are always picked like they're kind of shoehorned.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Tennessee was picked to finish as the winner. South Carolina was picked. You're right, Jackpot. They were picked 14th. 14th in the conference.
That's last, right?
That would be dead last. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
TFL. So,
wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. I mean, congrats to the Gamecocks. Big win for them. Big Barney Ross says if South Carolina can win 6 more games, has a good showing in the SEC tournament, they'll get in the dance. Yeah, they are. They should be in with the way that they've played. I mean, they went to Arkansas and won down there, and I mean, Arkansas may not be the best team ever, but
no, that's a tough place to win still.
Yeah, good South Carolina teams go down there and lose.
Yeah,
so,
you don't just waltz into Bud Walton Arena and walk out with a victory without having to earn it. And we've got Mizzou back again, who we just beat 2 Saturdays ago in overtime on the road. So the last thing we want to do is lay a stinker at home this Saturday. And that's very possible because we've seen in sports, not just basketball, time after time again, after a big upset, these teams have a big letdown.
Yeah.
So they got to avoid the letdown.
So there's that, and big win for South Carolina. Clemson was off for the midweek for some reason. They will play at Duke this weekend. They went on the road to Florida State and beat the holy hell out of them after losing at home to a terrible Georgia Tech team. I still stand by this Clemson coaching staff needs to be given some walking papers. They've had enough time to. You can't keep losing games, and it's every year. Every year. Let's welcome Billy into the program. What's up, buddy?
Hey.
Hi.
Close out my. What a great win last night. I'm watching Gamecock basketball.
Yeah, I'm sure you were pulling for the Gamecocks. You guys had a healthy rivalry with the Big Blue there.
Rick Barnes owns Calipari last 10 years.
Well, I mean, I think if I were a Tennessee fan with the teams that Rick Barnes has had, he needs to get to the damn Final Four. Stop screwing around. I think he's a coach that maybe not saying he's a bad coach. I'm saying maybe it's time he needs, to learn a new hole. There you go. Because you don't think so?
No.
Okay.
He's fine. We've lost to Purdue and who's the other top second team this year by single digits. So they're all right. They got depth there. But that was a great win last night.
North Carolina?
Yeah, they lost to North Carolina by 9, but they lost to Purdue and I think it was Arizona by just a few points. They're okay. And I think they got the 4th or 5th defense in the country, not the SEC in the country. So shooting 50% from the threes isn't going to happen in Knoxville.
Yeah, I just wonder if
that was a great statistical night last night for South Carolina. When you look at the statistics, what they did, they shot the ball out the rear end. So when you shoot almost 50% threes, you can beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so. But it was a good game.
I wonder too if South Carolina may have played above themselves a little bit. I mean, I think that's a fair thing to say.
Statistically, they did. If you go look at the box scores, their shooting percentage and 3-point shooting, and the other thing is they shot, I think, twice as many free throws as Kentucky. But a win is a win. But statistically, what I'm saying, it's going to be hard to shoot 50% threes every night. That was. The old saying, live by the 3, die by the 3. So,
and sometimes these teams just start feeling it, man. And yes.
Well, that's just like Tennessee the other night when they started feeling it against Alabama and blew them out of the gym by almost 30 points. Alabama's got Auburn down right now. If we're watching on the TV, Auburn's coming back.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, good God. That's another one right there that I want to see get kicked in the face.
Yeah, Nate Oates is a cunt, and I stand by that. He put his hands on another team's players. If I were Dennis Gates down at Mizzou, I would have beat the fuck out of him.
Well,
Serious.
last week,
Dennis Gates don't want to mess up that suit.
Tennessee.
I don't give a shit.
I bet you
I
the
think
Dork
Tennessee
would have.
beat
I bet
them
you the
by-
Dork would have punched him if he'd have done that to one of his football players.
Look up the
Bruce
Tennessee
Pearl
score.
was a cheater, but he would have beat the shit out of him if he'd have done that. Seriously.
You know, Bruce Pearl wasn't all that much of a cheater. He just lied to the NCAA. All he had to do was tell the truth and it'd been fine. What he did was, he had a hot dog party and called a kid, and he lied to the NCAA.
I'm in the camp of
Sports Talk Jay said it was a barbecue sandwich.
Yeah, and just he doesn't need to. That's just like what's her name, Martha White. She didn't go to prison because of what she did. She got lied to the FBI. When these people got dead.
I'm in the camp of
Martha
now.
Stewart or Martha White?
Martha Stewart, I think is what
it was. Martha Stewart.
Stewart.
Martha White's a cornbread mix.
Martha Stewart.
Yeah. I'm in the camp with the NCAA now where it literally, you don't have to comply with them. If they want to investigate your program, you can politely tell them, fuck you, get off our campus. And they can't do shit. They're a toothless, worthless organization. And any university that gets investigated now, why cooperate? Why put yourself out there to get butchered? And
so you don't
they'll
feel the wrath.
Fuck all that. What are they going to do? If they don't have it's like if you murder somebody and there's no body, they can't prosecute you. It's the same thing.
So you're saying if Tennessee hadn't done what they did, they cleaned out their coaching staff and they self-inflicted a bunch of stuff. NCAA would have killed them.
I'm talking about but they wouldn't have. I mean, let's be honest. And I don't want to use Tennessee as an example too much because people think I have this bitterness towards them, but blue blood programs, North Carolina gave away African American studies degrees and didn't get shit. Okay? There are guys that cannot read that have a degree in African American studies from the University of North Carolina. They should have been fucking nuked off the planet for the stuff that they did. Well, and they're just like, oh well, fuck you, we're not complying. And that's what everybody should do. Why give the NCAA a stand to sit on? Fuck all that. I wouldn't give them nothing. Not at this juncture.
But anyway,
so
Alabama's up by 6 with 10 minutes left. I forgot what the score was the other night, but Rick Barnes rolled it up on him, Nate Oates. I mean, he didn't call off the dogs at all.
I hope
getting a bounce back.
I think it was. Look up the score. It was bad.
He won by 30 points.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah. But anyway.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, as always, Billy, we appreciate you, man.
I got to ask Rob one thing. I heard a rumor that you stormed the floor last night, Jackpot.
That rumor is totally false. I didn't leave the upper deck. I was in the second row of the upper deck.
All right, I will correct those three.
Yeah.
But I think two of those three did. Two of
Mm-hmm.
those three did. They was talking about feeling the love on the court and all this other stuff, and I had to get off.
I think my favorite thing that I seen today was former university president Harris Pastides actually did storm the court and then tweeted about it and said, I had to pay the fine for another win versus Kentucky. I don't have to pay this one. And the university actually responded with, oh, Harris, or something like that. I mean, it was just really funny. The former university president out there with the students standing on the floor.
Did it cost them $100,000?
Yeah, I don't think they give a shit. The guys there were people. There's a big fountain in front of the CLA. People were jumping in that fountain last night. I mean, it's the middle of winter. They're jumping in. I was hoping Jackpot would get in the fountain. But
people love the Kentucky Suck shirt. I would have.
That was awesome.
Jumped in it if I had seen it, but I was too busy trying to find my car.
Oh, before I leave, baseball trivia. Todd Helton played 2 sports at Tennessee, baseball and football. He was backup quarterback to Heath Schuler and some kid named Peyton. I forgot his last name.
I mean, there's a lady that got a doctor's degree from there that knows his nuts. So we can ask her who it is.
Peyton Manning.
I think he watched James Stewart. Wow.
They say he tore ligaments in his knees, but everybody in East Tennessee knew better. The Colorado Rockies told him, "Get him off the football field. We ain't losing our."
I think he washed Leonard Little's jockstrap.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I didn't know Jared Mayo played at Tennessee till when you get old, you forget stuff. Anyway, great show, great win for the Gamecocks. Take it easy.
All right, buddy. As always, appreciate it.
Win model 88 Guns and Outdoors talking about going to the Clemson Syracuse game. Says he only lives about 3.5 hours from Syracuse. He's in central Pennsylvania. Man, I'd love to be up there right now. I love Pennsylvania in the summertime. Hadn't been up there in the winter yet. Everybody's like, it'd be too rough for you, Jackpot. I don't think so. Jackpot loves snow. I like cold weather. I like warm weather. I like all kinds of weather. I'm a man of the people, and I can get along with pretty much anything.
Jackpot likes everything except Clemson. Pretty much what it boils down to. So, all right. Well, anyway, if you want to chime in on that, we've also got Clemson's football schedule was released today. I wanted to go over that for a quick second, Jackpot, because it's kind of interesting, and I'll tell you why. The way that it's set up, normally Clemson gets normally the ACC gives them bye weeks before big games, etc. They didn't really do that this year. They open up in Atlanta with the Georgia Bulldogs. They come home.
That's a neutral site game. Now, is that one taking the place of a home game or a road game? What are they losing?
I don't know. To be
honest,
honest,
they play 7 home games, so that's probably taking the place of a road game, I'd think.
Yeah, because they've got 7 home games, so I guess that's taking the place of a road game there. Anyway, they come home for App State, and then they open up conference play with NC State and then Stanford. I mean, that's just fucking weird. I mean, to play the tree. I mean, I know that it's just weird.
This is where we're at right now with college football. That's going to be – I mean, Clemson will hammer them. I mean, if they don't, there's something wrong with that one.
I think they're not, but it's just weird to have the tree on your schedule.
And you play App State. App State's better than the tree.
I think that's fair.
I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
Nope. Then after that, they go down to Florida State to play the Seminoles, and then on the road at Wake before coming home to play Virginia. Then they get the bye.
Tony Elliott still be the coach?
I mean, he's probably got a big time pass because of the whole shooting thing. They're not going to get rid of him for a while. Then they get a bye week. Clemson and South Carolina have the same bye week this year. On the 26th.
Both weeks?
Yep. On the Gamecocks have one bye week. It's the 26th. Same thing for Clemson too. So
what? I mean, maybe something because I like. I mean, obviously, I like to watch the Clemson games. I mean, when we're not playing, we're playing opposite each other. I always watch their games here. This past season, I really didn't get to watch a whole lot of Clemson games because it seemed like we were paired up at the same times, TV slot wise. So
yeah, that's true. So anyway, after that, Clemson welcomes in Louisville, and then they go on the road to play at Virginia Tech, and then a road trip to Pitt, followed by wrapping up the home season with the Citadel and South Carolina. Just the tree on the schedule seems strange to me. Obviously, the toughest game of the season will be the first one with Georgia there.
Your toughest games of the season are kind of bookending it, really.
I mean, if you want to put South Carolina in that mix, I think Florida State's going to be better than South Carolina. But based
on what? I mean, who's their quarterback? Okay. Oh, never mind. We know who their quarterback is.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State's got a good offensive line. They've got some key players coming back.
We got
on
a good
defense.
offensive line. I mean, we should be better on paper. You think we got to be a lot better? Those guys are battle tested. So we'll have to see. Got some freshmen coming. Got some young kids coming in, but they're probably, in theory, they shouldn't be playing this year. I'm just sold out. I made a video today where I explained all this. I hashed it out. I'm gonna kind of stop with the Shane Beamer hate until he gives me reason to lose it on him again. I don't know if it's coming or not. I don't want to see him fail. I really, really don't. But some of these coaching hires, I mean, man, some of this stuff is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, we rushed for 14% of our runs in 2022 and 23 went for negative yards. 13% of them the year before that. Yet we've still got the same offensive. Well, Lonnie Teasley is a different offensive line coach than Greg Atkins, but they're both part of the same package. And Greg Atkins is still part of the program. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I know we had injuries last year. I know there were injuries there. But you would think a mishmash of maybe one or two first stringers and then a couple of second stringers that you had to bring in because of injury. And maybe you've even got a third string freshman in there. Okay, well, you'd think they would still be able to offer some kind of pass pro for a guy like a Spencer Rattler who should be able to get the ball out of his hand pretty quickly. He's been around the block as a quarterback. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't happen. I'm not sold on that. And the strength and conditioning piece, I've talked it until I can't talk it anymore. I mean, how do you have so many injuries and not hold anyone accountable for it? It blows my fucking mind, dude. It's like as if, I were running a store, I'm managing a grocery store. And my cashiers are consistently $100 short, and my cash is $10,000 short at the end of the year, and I write up no one and I fire no one. That's what that's like to me.
Well, I want to, and Jackpot, I'm not trolling here, okay? I think that we both can agree Shane Beamer teams generally have played better in the second half of the season. Can we agree on that?
We would agree with that. Yes, that's true. And they did play better in the second half of the season this past year, but you also got to look at the fact who's on that schedule.
Right. But here's the thing, though. When we look at the South Carolina schedule this year, and once again, I'm not trolling you Gamecock fans, you've got Old Dominion, which you'll destroy them. But then you go on the road to Kentucky. You welcome in LSU, followed by Akron. Now, I think it's not that far-fetched to think you could go 2-2 there, or at best 3-1. I mean, if we're being optimistic there, if you
at best you go 4-0. LSU's not undefeatable.
Okay. Well, and I don't want to come across there, but then it gets weird because you've got Ole Miss at home, you go to Alabama, and then you go to Oklahoma, followed by a bye week. The month of October, the Gamecocks didn't win a game last year, and it's possible they're probably going to be tough to win a game this year.
And who's on that slate for October?
Ole Miss, Alabama on the road, and on the road at Oklahoma. And a bye week.
They only play 3 games in October?
Yeah, because the 26th is a bye week. So they have 3 games there. Ole Miss, at Alabama, and at Oklahoma. Those are your 3. And I think it may be I mean,
best chance there is Ole Miss. South Carolina's going to be jacked for that game because of the whole Juice Wells situation. They're going to be jacked for Ole Miss. So,
well, anyway, you look at that, and then
it would be very, very, very satisfying to me to throat punch that phony bastard right in the face. Not Juice Wells, Lane Kiffin, but we can throw Juice Wells in there too if you want to.
But then after that, you bring in Texas A&M.
Disingenuous.
Then you hit the road to play at Vanderbilt, come back home, to play Mizzou, who Shane Beamer's got to get that thing off his back. I mean, the dork is killed. Never lost to South Carolina. Followed by Wofford, and then on the road at Clemson. I mean, I know that we bitch about the tough schedule, but the way the schedule is set up for the Gamecocks, the key moment is these 4 games right here, the first 4. If they go 3-1 there, a bowl game is not out of the possibility. But if you slip up and go 2-2 or 1-3, or I'm sorry, if you go 2-2, it's kind of far-fetched. You're not going 1-3. I'm pretty sure you're going to beat Old Dominion and Akron, but 2-2 would be, that's just barely keeping your head above water. But 3-1 could move you into a set where it's like, all right, a bowl game is a possibility.
South Carolina should get 3 in a row over Kentucky. I don't know that they're upgrading their roster this offseason.
Well,
they hit the portal pretty decent, I think. I don't know who their quarterback's going to be.
Well, with that though, I mean, winning up, it's weird games up there. Even when South Carolina's had good teams, they've kind of struggled up there. I'm trying to look up, and I know it's not the same as far as, because teams are different, but the Kentucky Wildcats at home up there at Kroger Field. Let's see here. South Carolina's won the last 2, but then you've got in 2020, the COVID year, the Gamecocks got blown out there. But that was the year that the Muschamp changed, right? So can't really look at that one too much. In 2018, they lost by a couple of touchdowns. 2016, they lost by a touchdown. 2014, they lost 45-38. But it just seems like, and then that was that stretch where Kentucky won 5 in a row. But I think that's going to be.
Did you throw in there when won 2 years ago as an underdog?
I did. I put it up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got some folks that are waiting to come on. Let's get them into the mix. We will bring in Chris in Georgia first. Chris, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's supposed to be Brock Vandegrift, is Kentucky's quarterback.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But they might lose Liam Cohen because him and Brian Callahan, who just took the Titans job, are really tight. And Brian Callahan wants Liam Cohen coaching Will Levis again, like he did at Kentucky. That was Will Levis's best year was under Cohen. So he might end up at the Titans, which I don't know how Titan Tennessee fans will feel, but we'll see. I don't know if you guys saw Alabama got a recommitment from that 5-star wide receiver. That's good for them, man. I think DeBoer, he might do all right. I don't know if his offense will work in the league. Not running the ball in the SEC doesn't work out usually, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, you don't know until it happens, I guess.
That Johnson guy, Chris, that Dylan Johnson guy had over 1,000 yards this year.
Yeah, but the whole team, they averaged. So if you go and look at SEC rushing yards for the last few years and national champs for the last decade, you got to break 150 yards rushing a game. If you look at the bottom, the 150 yards a game threshold, which DeBoer's never crossed as a play caller or a head coach. He's never crossed it. Didn't do it maybe at Sioux Falls. I can't find stats on them, but at Fresno State, Washington, and as a OC at Indiana, he averaged around 120 yards a game rushing on the ground. LSU had 160. Alabama's had numerous 200-plus yards. Georgia's obviously a run-first offense. Like, you just ain't going to get it done running 130 yards a game in the SEC, I don't think. Maybe he breaks the cycle. Mike Leach couldn't do it. Mike Leach did make Mississippi State better. Don't get me wrong. But he wasn't winning any trophies running a pass 70% of the time offense like
I'm not trying to – they thought that Urban Meyer's offense wouldn't work at Florida, and it did. You don't know until it actually gets out there and does it. I don't know how good of a coach this guy is going to be. But the best part is that, and this is what makes college football great, is we're going to fucking find out quick, because he's got that schedule in front of him. We're going to find out if that offense works or not. And he'll be on a rails quick. I mean, they're not going to put up with that shit down in Alabama.
He's got Whiskey and Camp Randall early. I mean, they weren't super good last year. I think they did pretty well in the portal. We'll see if Fickle gets them rolling. And then Georgia is his first SEC game. He's got LSU and Tennessee on the road. Auburn, he's got Auburn at home. That should be easy. We'll see what they are. But I think the media wants to paint them as it can't miss, and I just think it's a little premature for that. Most people they paint as can't miss have missed. So
yeah, well, we'll see on that. You never know. You know what I mean? I'm in the camp of show me, and if you don't show me, then especially down in Alabama, you're gonna have to move on. So we shall see.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah, I'd heard Jackpot trying to figure out who's going to be their quarterback, but it'll be but if they're having to get an OC in February, which Callahan's making his hires right now, if he ends up getting Liam Cohen, if they're making an OC hire in February, I think South Carolina just might have their number again. I'm glad we play them
That's
this
always
year.
tough, these teams that when they lose, because you always got to throw that into the equation of coaching changes.
Yeah.
NFL jobs opening up, and they don't ever open up until like January. So
yeah, I mean, they put you behind the 8 ball.
Lucked out when what's his name, Monken went to the Ravens. They kind of had a replacement in place. But
I'm curious and I don't think Bobo's going to go anywhere, but like the guys they kind of got to backfill Bobo's position in. Dang, I can't remember their names now. One was at Texas A&M when they had a terrible offense, and then the other one was Clemson's old OC, Streeter. I wonder if one of them guys, if Bobo left or retired, because Bobo's had his health issues in the past. If something like that rears up again, like they're going to backfill with Brandon Streeter, I think that could be Kirby's downfall if he did something like that. But we'll see. I mean, it's a desirable job. You think? I think I would have shopped that job around a little bit, but him and Bobo go way back, so who knows? But I think they could have got some elite offensive minds in there. But they did well. I mean, hell, their offense was good. Their offense wasn't the problem. They did well. But all right, man, I just wanted to follow up on that Kentucky question, and I'll let you guys get on down the road. Great show, and I'll talk to you guys Sunday, maybe.
Thank you, Chris.
Jackpot, we didn't even talk about Harbaugh taking the Chargers job. I wonder if
is that official? Was that just came out then?
Yeah, so Harbaugh's taking the job with the Chargers. Are they going to promote from within side, or will they go out
and give it to the guy that cried? And I'm not talking about Shane
so. I hope so. But look, on the other front too, you got to think about this. What if they decide to go out and go to LSU and get Brian Kelly?
Like he was saying, at this point, I mean, this late in the game, I mean, that's kind of difficult. It's almost like some of these promotions from within, you see them come at this time of the year.
We'll have to see. I mean, it could be a coaching carousel once again. We'll see. Rob has an SEC bias joins us. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Good, man. What's up?
I am fantastic.
Dude, right. It's just damn good to be a Gamecock, ain't it, Kale? I mean,
it absolutely is. Not like it ever wasn't, but
exactly right. Well, and I wanted to touch on the game a little bit just to go back. People don't realize like the palace that the Gamecocks actually play in. They gave out 5,000 student tickets alone. That's the capacity of most of the SEC basketball arenas by itself. That stadium was freaking rocking.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the fuck on.
What?
You had a big fucking win last night. I'm not taking away from it there. But you play in a goddamn concert arena that they put basketball in.
Hey.
Let's cut the bullshit.
Hey,
all right?
It's
that's what you play. No, it's not. It's a fucking Taylor Swift fucking place.
I've seen Monster Jam in there before. They put monster trucks in that.
You can put fucking Monster Jam in your goddamn basketball arena. Stop it.
But in all seriousness though,
Excuse me.
It does show that this city wants to win. This university wants to win. Whenever we get success, I mean, the city just really gets behind any team that's going, and I think that speaks volumes of the program. Lamont Paris has to be the SEC Coach of the Year at this point. I don't know who else would even have a claim.
At the January poll, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, assuming he continues on the same trajectory.
Look, I when I look back, I was looking at stuff today. How in the fuck did you lose to Clemson? I honestly don't know.
It was those balloons, man. The damn construction vests.
It's the damn Home Depot uniforms.
Yeah.
No.
Got it. They were reflecting off the rim.
On that. I don't know how you lost to Clemson. You got what, 3 losses on the year? You lost to Clemson, you lost to Alabama and Georgia, right? Those are your 3 losses. I mean, I can understand the Alabama thing because you had to play down there in that shithole, but the Georgia loss, I mean, Georgia's playing good basketball right now too, but
yeah, that
was a disappointing loss
today.
They were a 7-point favorite. That was disappointing.
Yeah.
I like the CLA. It's convenient, and got out of there pretty quickly last night after it was over. And it's because I wasn't wanting to get home at 1:00 in the morning, but I like it. I like the rim. I really miss the old Carolina Coliseum. I really do. I mean, and
it's full of asbestos, man.
Look, but it's full of memories too.
Yeah, you play a game there, and it's literally. I've been to several games there. You're right on top of the damn court.
I've been the only games at the Coliseum I've been to were the y'all remember the Infernos?
Yeah, but I mean it's a completely different setup for hockey. But I mean for basketball, you were right on top of them, and I mean it felt like you were playing in a fucking pit when you were there.
Yeah,
seriously.
It was I've seen them play Clemson there many a time. Saw a lot of games back in the day in the old Metro Conference there when they played Cincinnati and Florida State. I've seen some games with Virginia Tech and then some SEC games too. When we first came into the SEC, we blew ass for a while until Eddie Fogler kind of turned some stuff around. And then by the time he was leaving, they were opening up the CLA. But that place was, you definitely had a home court advantage there. Hosted some other good stuff too. Rob, you remember the Nitro? Do you remember when the NWO parodied the Four Horsemen and Kevin Nash? Supposedly he dressed up like Arn Anderson with the neck brace and the beard. You remember that one?
Yeah,
I was at that. That was at the at Carolina Coliseum.
That was also the one where
1997.
He broke his neck there too, if I remember correctly. I think that was.
I will say the improvements they've made to the CLA, at least since I've taken full interest in the program. It's you can't say it's not a good arena. I mean, the brick out on the outside, Asia Wilson.
It's a nice arena, but it's a fucking concert hall, buddy.
I like it. I mean, it's not. I like it. It's nice, but it's cookie cutter.
That's true too. I can see how you're describing the Coliseum, it being unique. I will give you that. The CLA isn't necessarily unique. It's just fucking massive.
Well, and look, the university doesn't even manage the damn arena. It's managed by the folks that manage the Spectrum up in Philadelphia. So, I mean, you have this, and the reason why is because it's a goddamn concert hall. Yeah, the Spectrum, whatever.
They don't still call it that, do they?
Well, it's the same. Look, I'll tell you exactly who it is. Hold on.
You're throwing it way back.
No, who manages? I remember reading this. Let's see.
Is that still the same building up there, Rob? Surely not.
Yeah, hold on. I'm telling you who it is right now.
Hi, Daddy. Hi, Daddy.
Yeah, its owner is hello, Jaden. Its owner is Spectra. That operator is Spectra.
Did the Sixers, do they still play in that same building? Because that was around like in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm trying to see here.
It has to have been rebuilt.
Spectra. Hold on. Spectra.
Well,
Matthew Goldsmith says it's not.
I saw y'all doing a brief preview of the record. I mean, the schedule's coming up. Y'all didn't go too much into depth, but what's kind of y'all's general feelings on how y'all think the season's going to come up? You think Clemson's going to be good, and Kale, do you think we'll make a bowl game?
I do. Contrary to what a lot of folks think, many times when people. Many times when people think that certain things are going to break a certain way, and it just doesn't happen that way. Rob is right. We start off 3-1, which is very doable. There's 3 more wins on that schedule. They got to get some things to break their way, but they've got to break that Missouri deal, man. I don't. Everybody's really high on them. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year.
I don't either. How much of their O-line are they returning? Because I think that was really their main strength of their squad.
Well, their defense was what was really good, and that they lost.
Well, I mean, like on the offense, that is.
I'm not sure about the offensive line piece, but I mean, losing Cody Schrader, I think is going to be massive. I mean, that guy was, and I would think that damn kicker should be gone by now. Surely to God.
Kicker?
Surely to God. I mean, that guy's been around, it seems like, since black and white TV was a thing.
So Spectra is who manages it, and they manage a shit ton of buildings. Share the screen so you guys can see it. But they manage a shit ton of and Jackpot mentions his cookie cutter. That's what they are. Here's some of the places that they manage right here. It's right there in the mix.
What is that in North Carolina? Is that the Raleigh?
That's probably
Crown Complex.
What?
Crown Complex.
That's Fayetteville.
I'm trying to bond.
So do they do
Bond Sports Arena.
do they do the Bond Sport? Do they do the Spectrum Center up in Charlotte?
No, they don't. That's Spectrum.
What's that thing up in North Carolina? What is that one? Up
This
above
one or this one?
No, in Western North Carolina. What was that? Zoom in on it a little more. No, you're up in fucking Ohio.
Yeah, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Virginia.
All right, I'm trying to see. Like, this is fucking not wanting to manage, but
that's CLA right there at the tip of the lake, and then your Bon Secours is up there. You're going the wrong way. You ain't going towards North Carolina. You're headed.
Yeah, I'm a fucko. The Charleston Coliseum down.
Oh, they do the Rupp. Isn't that where Kentucky plays?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So they got a shit ton of buildings.
Yeah,
I wonder how the hell they got in the business of that.
I don't know, but they manage all these arenas, bringing people in.
You know what's a real underrated basketball venue, Rob? That I bet you've never been to.
What's that?
And it's the biggest indoor arena in Western North Carolina, west of Asheville. Is the Liston D. Ramsey Regional Events Center at Western Carolina.
I've been to Western Carolina.
Holds 7,000 people. I went there the first year it was open in like 1987. Saw them play Furman. My dad used to take me to Furman games all the time when I was a kid, just because they were the hometown team. They played in the Memorial Auditorium and we liked them. So he took me on the road, and we went to Western Carolina. And dude, like you can get from Cullowhee, North Carolina, you can actually get to like Walhalla and the Clemson area from there. Yeah. But you got to take some serious fucking mountain back roads.
Hell yeah, through Cashers.
Yeah, well, this was in '87, so you still had some really shitty roads, dude. Bro, he got me, and you didn't have. There wasn't no Google Maps, there was none of that. So you had to either look at a Rand McNally map or follow the green signs or just your sense of direction. We got on a road. It was a fucking gravel dirt road through the mountains for like 25 miles that connected one highway to the other. It took like 4 or 5 hours to get home from there.
I'll tell you, I drove up to West Carolina from Clemson, like you were saying, taking that drive through Cashers, man. And you're not freaking kidding. It's a scary drive. You're sitting over cliffs damn near the whole time.
Well, a few summers ago, we were up in that area. And we had driven from Clayton, Georgia, up to Franklin, North Carolina. And I was trying to get from there to Brevard, so I could get to Brevard. I can get down to Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and from there I can get home. So I went up through there, and I took the wife on this road, and it was a road that goes from Franklin, North Carolina, to Highlands, North Carolina. And this road, it started out normal, but then you're like getting in the mountains and you start twisting and we're on this fucking hugging the side of this damn mountain. There's no fucking guardrail. All you can see is mountain laurel and like 200 fucking feet down to a fucking river down here. And she was like hyperventilating, scared shitless. I mean, she was really, really upset with me for taking her on that road. She was about to kill me, and I'm like, I didn't fucking know, okay? Like, I don't go up these and up and down these damn roads all the time. I didn't know it was this fucking bad. She was actually having to close her eyes, where it's like, slow down, freaking out, man.
Yeah,
Crazy.
No, yeah, that drive is wild, especially when snow's on the ground. That's when I went, so I was definitely white knuckling the whole freaking way. But
he is right. You do drive under the waterfall there.
One thing I will say, moving back to Carolina, I started digging a little bit more into the roster. I knew this is going to be like truly Beamer's boys this year. I'm pretty sure all of the Muschamp scum has been cleared from the roster. And if you look at it, he's bringing in a lot of big bodies, which is something we haven't really had at South Carolina since Spurrier, especially along the D line. I'd say Muschamp went a lot more for like your fast 6'3" guys. It seems like Beamer's bringing a lot of real, just huge human beings, which is something I think I'm excited about, because a lot of the times I see us, getting shit on. It's because our O-line can't push at all. Our D-line's getting pushed 3 yards back before anybody can even touch
I see that
them.
on social media all the time. We look small. I'm like, getting out there and standing next to one of these players. They ain't small, but when you look at them on TV, it looks like they are.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying. A lot of these, like all the sophomores that he brought in along the line, were 6'5" minimum, which makes them automatically the biggest in that position group.
Yeah, but if you can't develop them because your offensive line coach is a turd, it doesn't matter. You could be a big guy and not be worth a shit. I mean.
Dude, I got down there one time at one of them games and have gotten out on the field before, after it was over with, back 10, 12 years ago. I got near Kelsey Quarles. That guy took his helmet off. It looked like he had a fucking whole ham on the back of his neck.
Yeah, Quarles was a big
about fucking huge people.
That was like a 300-pounder, wasn't it? He was built like Wolford.
Every bit of it.
I remember that scary-ass face mask he had.
I want to address Brock really quick here. He says, saying CLA is bad because his host concert is ridiculous. Papa John's doesn't host shit, and that's a flex. There's nothing to do in Clemson other than screwing your relatives. They'd love an arena like the CLA.
Let me address that. For 1 year, Brock. They played in the.
They played in the Bon Secours.
I'm always going to call it the Bilo Center. It's the Bon Secours Wellness. I can't call it Bilo Center because, number one, there is no more Bilo, and it's not called that. But yeah, the Greenville Arena.
To address that, what I meant is that typical basketball arenas like, I don't know, Cameron Indoor hold about 9,000 people. To me, it needs to be a more intimate atmosphere where the fans are right on fucking top of you. Okay. And Clemson's arena is actually right in the heart of campus. So there's that too. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like a Gamecock fan talking football and like I'm talking about them being the greatest ever. Clemson hoops is terrible. Being a Clemson basketball fan is like being a South Carolina football fan. You think that you're supposed to be great, but in reality, you're a hunk of shit. I'm one of those people that I'm not going to sit here and try to defend Little John or the Clemson basketball program because they're just not very good. They're not. So, but
I was actually, I get what you're saying about an intimate atmosphere, but there is something to be said about being able to pack 20,000 fucking people in to watch a basketball game.
I think that, and I don't ever understand why they didn't. I think Duke missed the golden opportunity back in the heyday of the Mike Krzyzewski era. Why did they not build a big arena there?
Yeah,
I mean,
Because
they could have built a 20,000 seat arena and put an ass every 18 inches for years and years and years if they
and
had
that's what
wanted.
drives their athletics.
well, and that's fair too, but I think that maybe I'm just getting old, and I just think the atmosphere is better if you put 10,000 people in there, 9,000 people in there, and they're all losing their shit. I mean, it's just better in my opinion. But hey, whatever.
Mike Bridges says Carolina doesn't make a bowl game and Beamer gets fired. You know, look, and here's the thing about it. I mean, everybody talks about how tough this year's schedule is coming up. Well,
Right.
number one, you know how I hate that talk. It's an SEC
It's
schedule.
going to be tough every year.
And really, the Athletic put those. One of their guys did an article. Sports Talk J was going over all 16 of them. Carolina's only ranked seventh toughest. I mean, we're not the number one toughest schedule in the country like we're used to being every year, where we can lean on that crutch. But it is going to be a tough schedule for South Carolina, especially when you take into account the fact that, you know, some of those teams may not be tougher than the ones that you've been playing. You know, one could argue that Georgia's a tougher opponent than Alabama. One could say Tennessee and LSU is probably a wash. One could probably say, you know, I don't know. Trying to think of somebody else in the SEC. Well, we're playing the other one. So anyway,
Well, who's your Florida? I mean, I guess you don't
have one because Oklahoma's better than Florida.
Right.
And Ole Miss is better in Florida. So you don't have that. So you lost that. It did get tougher, but at the same time, he lost his mulligan for 2024, having a really tough schedule and getting adjusted to playing some of these different teams by having such a shitty 2023.
That's a fair point.
Zach says South Carolina fans brag about the CLA. They're proud of Monster Jam's establishment. Look, it's just a concert hall. And I mean, I will give you this. When you put the 20,000 people in there, like it was last night, it's an intimidating motherfucker. But you don't pack it out for every game. I mean, let's just be honest. No. Yeah, well, I mean, do you really want to talk about that and what they do for that to happen? I mean,
oh yeah, they probably give them away for free.
No, it's like $5 tickets. Seriously, for the upper deck, it's $5 tickets. I mean, they do a lot. I'm not knocking Dawn Staley. She's great, but
if they can get consistently good, you'll start seeing some.
Yeah, I've long said with the way the program is set up that South Carolina is a sleeping giant, and I can get laughed at.
South Carolina's Gamecock fans. I'll be frank, they're longing for something to hitch their wagon to, besides a women's basketball.
Yeah,
well, and look,
they keep on winning, they'll show up.
Well, I'll give you this too. Look at the players that are from this state that if South Carolina could have gotten, we can go with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Zion Williamson. I mean, we can go. I mean, there's a shit ton of players that played in this state.
Remember Stanley Roberts, who was from Eau Claire?
Stanley Roberts from Eau Claire was John Morant's another one. There is a shit ton of basketball talent here.
Really?
That they absolutely. Yeah, he was offered by Murray State, and he committed to them, and South Carolina offered him late. Yeah. Frank Martin made a comment about that. Man, it sucks that happened. But look, there's basketball talent here, and here's the thing: none of them are going to look to go to Clemson. They don't want to fucking go up there. But the idea that they could come to South Carolina and play. They can get that talent to stay here. Yeah, I agree with it's not as far-fetched to think that South Carolina could be a basketball juggernaut over being a football juggernaut. I'll buy into the basketball program more than the football program. I really, really will.
Well, and like I said, I mentioned this in that last show. Lamont Paris has been recruiting well. I really think this Eli Ellis guy he's bringing in is the real freaking deal, Rob. I don't know if you've seen anything about this guy, but
yeah,
He's been, I'm pretty sure he was on the best, you know how they do like the AAU or whatever, that's pretty much where the top recruits play. He was on the best AAU team last year and switched teams, and now I'm pretty sure the team he's on now is the best, and he's literally dropping 50 points for fun, dude. This guy's the real freaking deal. He's a small guard, though. That's the only thing that I'm worried about.
The Gamecock Chuck, you could tell that he is a guy who follows this program because Frank didn't bring Kerry Rich on board, who Kerry Rich, for those that don't know, former captain on the Gamecock basketball team. Kerry Rich he also runs the Summer League in Columbia, where NBA players come into Columbia to play every summer. They have like 4 or 5 teams, and Kerry Rich runs that league. And having him on the staff is huge because of the Rolodex that he has and the ability to go and talk to these AAU coaches. A lot of respect for what Gamecock Chuck said.
Isn't the McDonald's like high school all-star game in Columbia too?
I don't know about that. I just know the Summer League. Sure. I mean, some of the players that have been in the Columbia Summer League are just stupid. Hey, I got to move on, man. We got like people waiting, buddy. But I appreciate you.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna leave you with this.
Thank
Go
you, sir.
Quarters it. This time of the year, if I see you a hoodie, man, I'm liable to slap the shit out of you if your name ain't Carolina Jackpot. It's quarter zip season.
It's
Lamont Paris on top, baby.
It's quarter zip season. Woo!
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's bring in. This guy's been waiting. Dylan, welcome to the program.
I want to say congratulations to South Carolina on last night's win. I'm a Kentucky fan, and they just clearly outplayed us. We didn't even show up last night.
No, that's partially true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, buddy. Well, hey, thanks for being the guy to come in and say, you know what? Hey, we got our ass beat.
It's not like eating a slice of humble pie, because I mean we've had to do it for God knows how long. So hats off to you. Good luck to your team the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
They play South Carolina again, Rob.
I think we got y'all at work.
Probably at the end of the season.
Yeah.
We'll probably lose by 40.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the game where Jackpot will be fucking mad. I mean, he was just mad as hell.
Well, I think we did. We went up there. We beat them up there last year, Rob? I think we did.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, we think we did.
So, anyway.
Come here, baby.
Yeah. So there you go with that. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks for checking in, Dylan.
Yep.
See you later. All right, Justin joins the program. Justin, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, guys?
Hey, man. Congratulations to your team, man.
Thank you. Hey, Jacella, I can't believe we beat Kentucky basketball a whole lot now. We beat Kentucky a whole lot back then, didn't we?
No, but I mean, we've had more success against them than a lot of teams have. I mean, most everybody else gets blown out by them usually. I mean, South Carolina's pulled some upsets off against Kentucky, so it's kind of weird the way that happens.
Oh yeah, but I was happy. Hey, Coach Cal, he has not no way in all plays at all, has he?
No, I don't understand. I don't know if you saw him last night, Rob. I mean, this guy was like, he was 5 feet out on the court the entire game. What's the deal with that? I didn't think that was allowed.
Coach Cal, you're supposed to be in the box, but he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
he doesn't care.
Yeah, he still got to take a foul last night.
The idea of developing a team with him is fucking out there. This guy, he has a brand new starting 5 every year. I mean, that's just the way that he goes. It's a brand new starting 5 every year. He only has to keep these kids eligible until the middle of when they go and play in the tournament. It's not like, I don't know. They're not necessarily student athletes in my mind, but hey, they can play basketball. We'll give them that.
Oh yeah. Hey guys, if I go, wow, Clemson needs a new basketball coach, man, because
yes, sir,
they just need one bad. Because if somebody can go out there and get this bullshit right, they can do it right.
Clemson needs a new basketball coach. Yes, sir. Completely agree with you.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Hey, listen, you have a good night, man. All right.
You too. Go Gamecocks.
Go Gamecocks. I think, Rob, I think the Heat from 2016 through 2019 was kind of off Brad Brownell because of what Dabo was doing. But I mean, now that they're not really in the national championship mix. I'm not going to say Clemson. They might make that 12-team playoff. I don't know, but
yeah, well, Clemson's not the Clemson basketball team though is second fiddle to everything.
There's pressure on. That's what Clemson fans seem to really get. I hear a lot of Clemson basketball. I hear a lot more Clemson basketball talk when the football team is not as good.
That's a fair statement. But
you see what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be hateful.
I completely get what you're saying. If the football team is 8-4 like they were this year, then a lot of fans, and there are bandwagon fans, every fan base has them, they check out and think, all right, well, how's basketball season going to look? But, you have to get to a point where you're stuck in neutral forever. I don't think it's out of the realm of sanity to say Clemson should be in the mix to make the NCAA tournament every season. I don't think it's that far-fetched with the money that's spent up there. And, I don't think it's that far-fetched, but they're not. And then you got this coach that is losing to fucking Morehead State. The fuck are you doing? It's a disaster. It's a shithole. Let's welcome in Jonah from Georgia. Jonah, what's up, buddy?
What's up?
How are you?
So, congratulations, Jackpot, on the big upset last night with Kentucky. I was actually happy to see South Carolina. Not only did they beat Kentucky, they blew them out.
Yeah, they blew them out in the end. It was 76-62, and Michie Johnson hit. He threw that thing up from like 40 feet there with less than 30 seconds left in the game. That was just an insane shot. So I know the people that called him the little pineapple headed punk that needed to get a clothesline were kind of pissed off about that one and that. But oh well.
Yeah.
We need our day in the sun too.
Yeah, everybody's due for their day in the sun. I have a question though about Alabama. So, what do you think about their defensive coordinator? I don't think it's a good hire.
Who's things have been spinning so fast.
They hired the guy from South Alabama, right? Or UAB?
Womack.
Yeah.
Kane Womack.
He turned in a really solid team at a group of 5 level team that they've really risen up. Pretty quickly.
Okay, so I don't.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know his resume, but I know he took South Alabama to a 7-6 season. I know under his administration, he gave up multiple 40-point games to players in the Sun Belt.
Mm-hmm. Well,
they beat up on Oklahoma State early in the season, though.
Look, I think you have to give DeBoer. He's got to be able to go and get the coaches that he wants, and see if it works, because it's an accelerated process at Alabama. If he goes in there, if they go 8-4 this year, I think that he's on the boiling seat already, because they're so spoiled down there as a fan base from what they had. If he go 8-4 this year, they better go damn 10-2 the following year, and that may not be good enough.
Yeah.
So, on
if
that front, he should be able to get whoever he wants and then go from there.
Any team that goes 10-2 from here on out is making the playoffs regardless. Unless you have 12.
Look, let me give you this too, because there's a lot of narrative out there that I'm gonna give you the devil's advocate side of it. I think that Alabama's going to take a step back, because keeping up with what Saban had is fucking absurd. So, but let's say that the step back for them is a 10-2 season where they make the playoffs as a 12 seed, or however that works out. And they win a couple of playoff games. It's not really that far-fetched. I mean, you've got 12 teams that are going to make this thing. I think Alabama could be a team that's right there in the mix, even though their roster's been depleted. I'm with you on that. But I think that the playoff committee is going to I think there's going to be a lean towards some SEC schools. And I think that if Alabama goes through that schedule and they're 10-2, they're going to be a playoff team. And if he's in the playoffs in his first season, what can anybody say? Holy fuck.
I'm not sure they're going to go 10-2 though next year. I do think I think Ole Miss might finally get over that hump and beat Bama next year. I would say like a 50-50 game would be Georgia. Like,
they don't
I feel
play.
like Georgia all should win. But historically, Georgia has always struggled with Alabama really ever since 2007.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alabama's
schedule, that game could be.
Yeah, they don't play either one of the Mississippi schools next year. I did a breakdown on their schedule. You got to remember those divisions are gone. So
nope. They've got their schedule is Western Kentucky, South Florida at home. They go to Wisconsin, Georgia at home, at Vanderbilt, South Carolina at home. They go to Tennessee, Missouri at home. They go to LSU, Mercer at Oklahoma, and Auburn. So yes, they do get Georgia. They don't play Texas. They don't. They do play Tennessee on the road. Okay. And then they've got Auburn at home. So, the schedule is tough, but I mean everybody's schedule is tough,
Yeah, I'm not trying to hate on Bama, but Bama Wisconsin I think is a 50-50 game right now. That's just if they play today.
But what makes you say that? I mean, Alabama's roster is still one of the top 10 in the country as far as the 247 Sports composite right now. Wisconsin's is not. You think going up to Wisconsin is going to fuck with them and it's not even wintertime yet?
I think Luke Fickell's a hell of a coach.
I think that Wisconsin might give them a little bit of trouble, but I think Alabama should still win that game.
That's why I'm saying it's a 50-50 game. It could go either way. It's, bounce a ball type deal. Georgia.
Ole Miss, by the way,
more talented. But
Ole Miss, by the way, has Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern. They get Kentucky, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma. They get a week to prepare for that game. Arkansas, and then they play Georgia at home, Florida on the road, and then they play at Mississippi State for the Egg Bowl. Their schedule is more manageable, in my opinion, than Alabama's because their toughest games are at home. I guess their toughest road game would be at LSU on October the 12th. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't know what Alabama's going to have. I can just tell you from talent wins out, in my opinion, and they've still got a ton of talent down there. And we'll see where it goes from there. So
I feel like Bama LSU next year could be a track meet type game. So I would say that's a 50-50 game.
That's at LSU on November the 9th. So, yeah. They play Oklahoma on the 23rd.
I'd give that win to Bama.
You think they win at Oklahoma?
I do.
So you think Wisconsin, but Oklahoma winning at Oklahoma is easier than winning at Wisconsin, is what you're saying, right?
Well, they've lost their offensive coordinator. They've lost their QB. Mm-hmm. Their defense really isn't anything to be impressed over.
They might regress back to 6-6 like they were in Venable's first year. Weren't they 6-6? I think, or something like that.
It's possible. They were the shits. BVD's here tonight. Happy birthday to BVD Jackpot. He is 78 years old. Welcome in, BVD. Look at you, man. Happy birthday to BVD.
Win Model 88 Guns and Outdoors says, the old Big East used to definitely be for basketball first. That conference was brutal. Those games were awesome to watch. And then big money took over and ruined it. Yeah, bro, I have to agree with that. I'm gonna say when I was a kid growing up in the '80s, we had the satellite dish, and we could pick up like virtually anything. And of course, I knew who all the Metro Conference teams were, and I followed that a bunch because I followed the Gamecock basketball. Then, other than that, it wasn't. And then I followed the ACC because that came on our local channel, Channel 4 and 13. But then, other than that, it wasn't the SEC. It wasn't really Big T. It was the Big East because that came on ESPN. It come on Monday nights. It come on Saturdays. It come on Thursday nights. I mean, and you had some teams that you had like Villanova, Providence, Pitt, Connecticut, St. John's, Georgetown, Syracuse. I mean, those were some damn good teams.
What about
And you had
Maryland?
those coaches were characters too. Right, you remember Lou Carnesecca that was the coach at St. John's, Rob, the guy that wore the crazy sweater?
Yep.
Dude, you know he's fucking still alive?
Fuck out of here.
He's still fucking alive, dude. He's like almost 100 years old. You remember he had that crazy ass sweater, and it was just this ugly sweater. You remember John Thompson, the coach for Georgetown, came out in that one game when they were playing each other, like in Madison Square Garden. He pulled up in that suit jacket. He had on the same damn sweater. That was crazy.
Funny. That is funny. Well, anyway, we may disagree on that. I think that Alabama's not going to fall as far as people think. But I think it would be. It's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting though if they can rally through and they go 10-2. I think they make the playoffs. If not, though, he may lose that team if they fall down the stretch. Let's say they lose to Wisconsin, and he's not able to keep some of those guys that were saving guys. Oof, it might get ugly there. We'll see.
Well, what if they start out 2-2? They win their first 2 games, lose to Wisconsin. They lose the momentum, lose to Georgia.
If they start at 2-2, then after that they've got games at Vanderbilt and South Carolina. If South Carolina goes in there and beats them there, the wheels may come off.
Vanderbilt is a win. South Carolina could be a 50-50 game.
In Alabama,
I'm not.
Okay. I'm just saying if South Carolina goes in there and Lenore Sellers has a Spencer Rattler type day where he's going to throw the fucking ball and everybody's going to catch everything, just like they did with the Tennessee game a couple seasons ago, and they have that happen to them there, the wheels could fall off because
if South Carolina goes in there and wins, I don't care if Alabama's 2-4 when we go and win it. That'll be a top 5 in program history win.
Well, but then you've got after that they go to Tennessee and then they welcome in Mizzou, and Mizzou may go in there and beat them because Mizzou's got a bunch
that's
of
very
guys.
true. That's very valid. I was looking at that too, and I said that when I was just kind of breaking their schedule down. I'm like, you lost those Mississippi schools, but I mean, you picked up Mizzou, and 2 years ago, I mean, that looked like a game where you're going to run them out of the building and the game's over by halftime. But yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. And I said I think Mizzou may fall off next year. But then again, I could be wrong. I mean, they may not. I mean, I don't know exactly what Drink's bringing in. Cody Schrader, he just kind of looked like a good story to everybody for how, all of last year and the first part of this year turned out he's a pretty fucking good back. So who knows what they're bringing in?
You got to give the dork credit for finding, Cole. Or finding someone that's Cole and
he actually found him. Remember, they told the story. This donor went and had dinner with Eli Drinkowitz and was like, "Would you please give this young guy a chance?" And he let him walk onto the team, and he ends up leading the SEC in Russia. I mean, you just don't see a lot of stories like that anymore. I mean, you really don't. I mean, the 5 stars are the 5 stars, and everybody else is who they are.
But what I can tell you is that Brady Cook he's going to be, I mean, it's not out of the realm to think he's going to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the conference. And then you've still got Luther Burden, who is going to be playing on Sundays. They've got 4 guys back on the offensive line. They've got the other wide receiver, I can't remember his name, but he's coming back too. They'll figure the shit out on defense. It seems like their defense gets better as the year goes on. I mean, Missouri's going to be one of those teams that they're going to be another interesting team next year. They could be right there in the playoffs.
Didn't they lose their DC?
They lost their defensive coordinator
lose
to LSU. Yeah. Baker's at LSU now. So,
Rob, not a lot of people know this because they don't really follow the Mizzou like the way you and I do. But we listen to the Mizzoucast. We kind of follow some Missouri people on Twitter, and keep up with them. Can you think of any college football player in the span of just a few months who has went from just being so universally disliked by a fan base to so universally loved by a fan base than Brady Cook?
Yeah, I mean, he looked like somebody called him one of the kids from South Park.
He went the opposite. He went the opposite of what DJ Uiagalelei went at Clemson.
Absolutely, yeah. And but like Kelly Bryant was the same way, but it was on the other end. When they brought Kelly Bryant in, Kelly Bryant went from, my God, this guy's great, to the shits when he was banging that tight end that I can't remember pronounce his name. He was banging that tight end's girlfriend, and the whole team turned on him.
He was banging the tight end. I was like,
well, he was banging,
I know we can't really say.
No, but he was banging the tight end's girlfriend, and the whole team turned on him. But he went from being like QB1 to
Jordan Leggett.
No, the tight end with the crazy name, Jackpot. No. I'm talking about when he transferred to Mizzou. Kelly Bryant played at Mizzou.
He did.
Yeah, I know that.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. At Mizzou, he was banging the Mizzou tight end's girlfriend, and he went from being liked to hated. It was on the other end.
I don't know. Who would this have been? I've not heard that story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mizzou tight end. Hold on, I'm looking up his name right now. Let's see here. Who was this guy's name? He had like
Wiedemeyer?
He had like a really, really strange name.
Well, Wiedemeyer is kind of a strange last
Yeah, I
name.
know. Tight end, Kelly. That was the story with the Kelly Bryant thing. So,
I would have thought going on the road and losing to fucking Wyoming would have turned the entire team again.
Well, they lost to Vanderbilt. Oh, Albert.
They did.
Here you go. Yeah, here you go. Albert OQ.
Albert O.
Albert O. Yeah. So that was the thing. He was banging Albert O's girlfriend, and the team turned on him. There you go. The guy's helping us out over there. Yeah. So that happened, and he went from loved to hated. But it's different with Cook. He went from despised to loved.
Beckham or something was his name.
Yeah, a crazy name. I couldn't pronounce it. So I didn't want to try to butcher
Remember who you're talking about now? They called him Albert O on the Mizzou.
Albert O, yeah. But I mean, he was banging. Kelly Bryant was banging his girlfriend, and the whole team.
What was the name of the tight end this year? The Norfleet.
I don't know.
That kid's good.
What about?
He is good.
What about Jim
Albert
Harbaugh?
O wasn't even really that good. I don't think.
Well, Harbaugh left Michigan. He's going down to the Chargers, and we'll see how that works out for him. I mean,
but the point I was making is they're getting ready to run him out of town on the first thing smoking. Yeah. And then all of a sudden the whole cheating thing happened, which no one knew about the cheating, but now everyone at Michigan loves it.
Michigan's played pretty good football for 3 years now. I mean, I don't think they were trying to run him out. I think he was
at the end of 21. I believe they were lowering his buyout.
After that, I mean, he was. I mean, to be honest, but before that season, they won the. He was trying to get a coaching job, and then told him, "I'm coming back." I mean, he basically used them as leverage. Hey, I'm going to take you to the prom and hang out with you, but if I can find a hotter bitch, I'm going to go and fuck her. And then he couldn't find a hotter bitch, so he had to bang the one he was with.
He's like, the job he wants is like the girl that you always think about, the one that got away. And then the one that he's stuck with, he's trying to get the one that got away, but he has to take the girl that he's stuck with to the prom.
Yeah.
You know, you want the prom queen, but you end up with the you know,
he's wanting a 10, but he's got a 6, and he had to stay with the 6.
Yeah, I've been there before.
That's basically what happened. All right, Jonah. Hey, man, appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. All right, there you go. Jonah joining the program.
Very well said. Am I doing a house tour? No, I went to the bathroom and I took my device out there and put it outside on top of the washing machine so that I could hear what was going on. I wouldn't miss anything.
He says, Matthew says Michigan's not a 6. No, but he treated them like a 6 when he lobbied for an NFL job and then came back. He treated them
got
like
it now. It sounds like.
Yeah. So I'm not saying
where do you think where do you think the Panthers are going to go now?
Oh Jesus! Well, they hired
Dan Morgan as the general manager.
Yeah, he's the general manager, and he's going to come in. And you know, if I were them, I think you go for some stability, and I think just hiring a coach just because he's like some offensive or whiz kid or defensive whiz kid or whatever, I don't think that would be the best thing to do, in my opinion. I would go after a proven coach that maybe had like the Dallas defensive coordinator. I think would be a great hire for them because he's been around football long enough to know a little bit about it. And, you know, you won 1 game this season. So if you go there,
it was 2.
No, I'm sorry, they did win 2. Thank you, but they're 2-15. Okay, so if
that's
you
horrendous. That's got to be one of the worst teams in history. You don't think Bill B could be a fit there?
Well, I mean, he if he wants to coach again, maybe.
If he wants to coach there, I mean, they'll bring.
Well, I mean, you remember what good old Dusty Rhodes said? Just don't let him take your jersey. You know, just
don't
because
let him kick you in the butt. Tell you a computer took your place, Daddy.
Yeah, but I mean, if he could still coach in the NFL, I mean, hell, why not? But I don't think the owner for the Panthers. I think he's kind of a doofus, in my opinion, and I think he's going to want to hire somebody. I don't think he'll hire a proven coach like that. I really don't.
That franchise, they've just stepped on their own dick so much. I mean, it really. I don't, you know, and tell me I'm crazy, but I know, you know, Charlotte's it's a Brevoni metro area, but the upstate of South Carolina, I mean, this place has grown so much, man. I don't, and they were talking one time about building a stadium in Rock Hill. What would be so bad about just building a stadium, just somewhere on the North-South Carolina border? I mean, closer to the upstate. I mean, you've got football crazy. I mean, it would be, I don't know. I just think it would be massive. I mean, you'd have the Charlotte influx, you'd have the upstate South Carolina influx, and the whole state of South Carolina. Hell, I might even become a fan of them again.
Well, but the thing with the Panthers is that when they started, it was like they tried to make it. You know, I mean, and you've heard the story about the logo. The logo, if you look at it, is supposed to be North and South Carolina together. That was the idea for the logo and everything. That's why the Panther looks the way that it does. But I mean, there's South Carolina people just really didn't. You know, they still think of them as the damn Charlotte Panthers.
Charlotte Panthers.
Yeah. So Kelly says, who we got on Saturday? Let's look at the games here. I know we got Baltimore playing.
Who do I have? Oh, in football.
Yeah, hold on. I'm bringing up the lines right now.
We got Mizzou on Saturday in Colonial Life.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the actual game. I'm getting the lines for them right now. So
Barney Ross said they should build a stadium out back of the Buc-ee's. I'm wondering when Buc-ee's is going to sponsor a big arena or a stadium. Because you know that's got to be coming.
Have that stupid thing, the beaver running around.
Yeah. Have you been to a Buc-ee's yet?
Yeah, I have. We went and it was like
it's underwhelming, don't you think?
It is. It's so we go right and like
it's a fucking gas station with a bunch of damn overpriced shit that you can find in the mall.
Yeah, but the thing was that we walk in right and like they're chanting with the barbecue brisket, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So, I mean, I took my 3 kids in there, and it's like a goddamn zoo. I was like, why are,
It is nuts, dude. And I'm telling you, the first one I went to was the one in Daytona Beach. And, I mean, it was an experience, but I mean, it wasn't that crazy. And we also went to the one up closer to Jacksonville. Well, I was working for Rose's. I was district manager down in the Lumberton area, 2 years ago. And they opened the one in Florence in May of 2022, right before Memorial Day, right? I mean, like the middle of May, right before, the summer season kicked off. And man, that fucking place was insane. The interstate was backed up for 3 miles. They had a special lane. They have a special lane on I-95 coming south from North Carolina for Buc-ee's, just specifically. And the thing about it is, it never slowed down. I mean, you go in there like right now. I mean, it's still that fucking busy, like grand opening. So that has to be one of their most successful stores, right? It's nuts. But they recently they opened one in Kodak, Tennessee, which is just like a cunt hair from Sevierville and Pigeon Forge and all that. And that was getting ready to open last March when me and the wife were up there for a weekend. But I mean, I can only imagine the insanity there at that one. That one was supposed to be the largest one in the chain at the time.
Well, it was just too much. I was just like, man, to hell with this. We gotta get the fuck out of here. I mean, it was like driving me batshit. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, you can't walk. I mean, it's crazy. And like I said, it's a lot of the beaver, the cute little thing draws you in. But I mean, they really that barbecue sandwich, paying $10 for down some pulled pork is insane. When there's like tons and tons of barbecue restaurants here in South and North Carolina that you could go to that are probably better. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
the best barbecue is not in some corporate ass place anyway. I mean, we all know that.
What are some of the better barbecue restaurants? Because I tell you, everybody tells me, Jackpot, you got to try Sheely's. You got to take Rockabelly to Sheely's Barbecue in Batesburg, Leesville. I'm like, I've already ate there before one time. I didn't film it, but it's like, I mean, that's really almost like you go in there. That was when I worked for Rose's too, and I was down that area working, and I was by myself, and it was like you're eating with like friends, because I mean they just sit you at a big old long table. You just sit down wherever. There was like people here, people there. I mean, it was it's kind of crazy, but that's some really good food there, and there's
that's really good. And Palmetto Pig, which is right up the street from the CLA, is really, really good.
Anybody knows where Midway Barbecue, which is actually in Buffalo, but it's really Union, South Carolina, is a really, really good place too. It's been around for like probably 100 years. It's got like a dirt floor, but they can do some cooking there.
Farmhouse or Farm Boys Barbecue in Chapin is really, really good. So
where's that at? I tried to. Last night we were going to stop at. We stopped and ate at Waffle House last night on the way home. I hadn't ate at Waffle House in a while. We were going to stop in Chapin at that one there, but I mean, god dang, man! I mean, that interstate is such a fucking cluster right there. When you get off, you don't know if you're coming or going. Right. They're doing all that work there, widening I-26. So we went on up and went to the one in Newberry, but. So Farm Boys Barbecues in Chapin.
Yep, Farm Boys is in Chapin off of exit 91, I believe it is. And I mean, it's literally you get off the interstate and then go right towards Chapin High School. It's right there on the right. I mean, it is really, really good.
I've always said that if I move to the Columbia area, that's where I'm gonna put up my hitching posts in the Chapin area.
Yeah, that's a good place. But also Palmetto Pig, outstanding barbecue down there too. All right, let's pick games before we get out of here, Jackpot. We got for the AFC Championship, the Kansas City Chiefs are playing on the road at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is a 3.5-point favorite. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover, but I think Baltimore wins that game. I think that's a close, that's a hard hitting game. That's two styles that are going to clash. And I think Baltimore wins, man. I think they make it back to another Super Bowl. And that's one franchise that's just been really, really good. It's kind of just come up short over the past 8-10 years, but yeah, I don't think they get enough credit. I think they're I think they win this one. I think they make it back to another Super Bowl.
So the other matchup, okay, I'm by the way, I'm going to take the Ravens. I think Kansas City can win that game. I think that their defense is really good. You got two good coaches there too, Andy Reid and John Harbaugh. Two good coaches. That Baltimore
John Harbaugh's been there for a minute too.
Yeah, but you also have got the defense for the Ravens is stupid good.
Not led by, but including one Jadeveon Clowney.
Hey, and Clowney, you got to give Clowney credit. He's playing his dick off this year.
Clowney's been on the comeback tour, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has. He made the incentive where to he hit his player incentive. I mean, he is, I fuck him for going to South Carolina, but as far as the fact that the way he's playing this year, he's playing like a damn man possessed up there. So they lost 3 games on the season. They had no business losing, to be honest with you. But the Ravens are really good. But man, Mahomes and Kelsey are on a different level too. And I like Pacheco, the running back, for.
He's a Rutgers man.
Yeah, I mean, but he can.
He's a
Scarlet Knight.
Rutgers man.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't show y'all that. I have updated the helmet collection just a little bit. I keep on getting them. None of these have been sent to me, by the way. I still need to get that P.O. box set up for any fan who wants to send Carolina Jackpot a helmet. But we do have the dark mode Tennessee helmet that I got. Okay, so I can't say I'm a hater. Virginia Tech and a little bit different. Old school apps, not old school, but it is the App State helmet. And I'm still, Rob, I think I'm still going to get that helmet too, even though I have an App State helmet. I've got to get that App State 1982 helmet with the A, with the snow covering the A. I just think that's just, that is so before its time. And I don't know why I'm so hung up on that, but I think it's really cool.
Virtual Kale wants to respond to the dark mode helmet, and what are your thoughts on that? That is fucking great. Thank you, Virtual Kale.
Matthew Goldsmith says Pacheco, yeah, he did go to Rutgers, and I'm telling you, Rutgers had another smallish but small bowling ball, very muscular, very good type of running back this year. Kyle Manungai, who I think he was one of the leading rushers in the Big Ten, and that guy's going to do some things. I'm not sure if he's got another season at Rutgers or he's going to take his talents elsewhere too. But I'm telling you, they can produce some players up there. I mean, they can produce it in pockets, and they're not going to produce a ton of talent. But I mean. Really, though, if you think about it, though, Rob, why not? I mean, why not? That is the closest college football program to the most populated metro area in the United States. Yeah. It is. It's the largest Power 5 program, or the closest Power 5 program to the New York City metropolitan area, which is the most populated area in the U.S. I mean, you'd think you could find a couple of guys there to play football, right?
Right.
I think they should be more competitive than what they are, and they're competitive. I mean, right now, just on paper, looking at what they've done, it's a better program than South Carolina is. But yeah, Rutgers, man.
So the other game is the Detroit Lions on the road at San Francisco. Look, Jared Goff on the year has thrown for 4,575 yards. I mean, that's
a couple of football fields.
That's fucking amazing. I've watched some of the I've watched some 49ers games, and like Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. I'll give him that, but he's got all these weapons around him. I mean, he's got Ayuk, who's a great wide receiver, got McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel is the damn Swiss Army knife. He can play wide receiver. He can play running back. Samuel is hurt, though, and McCaffrey is kind of stinging, too. McCaffrey is better when Samuels is there because McCaffrey doesn't have to be the every down back. So,
talking about him real quick, Rob.
Sure.
Just from in between college to the NFL, Deebo Samuel, 3-star recruit out of Chapman High School, Emmons, South Carolina, class of 2015. I mean, for all that he's done for South Carolina, for all that he's done so far since he's been in the NFL, I still don't think this guy. I still think he's underachieved relative to what he can do. Maybe not underachieved, but I think that things such as injuries that have hampered him and held him back a little bit, and we don't really know how good he could really be. Who knows what South Carolina's record book would look like right now if you'd have had a healthy Deebo Samuel for all of 2017? If you'd have had a healthy Deebo Samuel for all of 2015?
Look, let me tell you my thing with Deebo Samuel. Me, the comrade, and our buddy Dennis Wilson and the lovely Betty Wilson were at Deebo Samuel's final college game, and that was at Clemson. And in that game, that was the Clemson team that went and beat the holy fuck out of Alabama by 28 points. But if you look back at that game, I'm pulling the stats for it right now. Let's see here. That was, 2018?
2018.
Yeah, hold on a second, because I want to bring up the stats on that game. Yeah, Clemson wins 56-35, okay? But in the stadium that night, yes, Clemson was the better team, but Clemson had on that team, as far as on the defensive line, you had Christian Wilkins. You had Dexter Lawrence. Cleveland Farrell was on that team. All those guys were on that team. A.J. Terrell was in the secondary. A.J. Terrell got fucking
D line of that team. You had Wilkins, Farrell.
Hold on, I'm pulling
Power Rangers.
Let's see. Wilkins, Farrell, Austin Bryant. Right. But I mean, this is the Clemson team that won 44-16 over Alabama. And Deebo Samuel had 10 catches on the night for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's just receiving. I mean, he was fucking lights out. He lit up A.J. Terrell, who was picking off 3 weeks later, fucking Tua Tagovailoa, and being the hero there. Deebo Samuel cooked his ass.
You know who else had a breakout in that game besides Jake Bentley? Obviously, the best game of his career. Who went on after that season to never play a down of college football again, that quit the game. Keel Pollard, the tight end for the Gamecocks. You remember him? That crossed up the Belmont
two catches
Bandit.
for 94 yards in that game. Yeah.
What was the Belmont Bandit? What's his name? Tanner Muse.
Yep.
On that crossing route for like that 80-yard touchdown. That was good.
You look at the South Carolina team that finished the 6-6 on the year. Rico Dowdle's the fucking third down back for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Deebo Samuel is who he is. Brian Edwards was on that team, ended up having the most receiving yards in Gamecock history. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, they had some talent on that goddamn team. They really did.
They did. And here's the thing that makes me so freaking mad, dude. And I was talking about this on video today. When South Carolina plays Clemson here lately, if you take that game and okay, we take 2022 and we put that out here, and I say I thought we had turned the tide or turned the corner against them offensively, and then you take that 2018 game and put it in a vacuum. Other than that, South Carolina's not been able to fucking run the ball against them. They haven't been able to. I mean, they have looked totally confused, inept, and just offensively impotent against Clemson. In numerous games, and it's maddening too when you consider Clemson went out the next game that they played and give up 35 points to an average ass Kentucky team. Now, granted, you lost a few players to the portal, whatever, but
that's the thing though, is that when you look back at this South Carolina team here, Jake Bentley, who's now an assistant coach, coaching somewhere.
North Alabama, he's the quarterback's coach.
Threw for 510 yards, 5 touchdowns and 1 pick, 32 for 50, 510 yards and 5 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence on the night threw 36 balls, completed 27 of them. He had 393 yards, but 1 touchdown. But
the difference in the game was Travis Etienne.
No, sir. The difference in the game, Travis Etienne played well, 28 carries. That's true. He had 2 touchdowns, but Adam Choice had 3 touchdowns on the night.
I forgot all about him.
Well, Clemson ran for 351 yards on the ground.
Yeah, you lose some of those players when you're having really, really good years. You forget about some of those guys who are role players or whatever. Yeah. But I was rewatching some highlights from the 2015 South Carolina Clemson game, and I'd forgotten about C.J. Fuller.
Yeah.
That was the running back for Clemson. Wind Model 88 Outdoors says Syracuse, and we get more. Where do you exactly live at in Pennsylvania, sir? I'd like to know that. Might be someplace I've been through. Yeah, well, that Clemson defensive line was good. The Power Rangers, I give them.
They were good, but they got. I'm telling you, this South Carolina offense.
Well, they kind of got neutralized in that game.
500 fucking yards. How
they got neutralized, and so Will Muschamp, which I mean, he was a defensive-minded coach. He's he's study-duddy, fucking, no offense. Will Muschamp, 0 pass completions. How do you go in 2014? He had 0 pass completions against Georgia Southern to 2018, the best defense in college football, Clemson, and you pass for 500 fucking yards on them.
It just doesn't make any sense. And then I look at the damn Clemson team. Getting back to the players on that team, in addition to, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Tavian Feaster, who ended up being a Gamecock later on.
Tanner Muse was there.
Tanner Muse, but listen to the receivers. T. Higgins, the number 2 wideout now for Joe Burrow up there. He's actually number 1 because the other guy got hurt. Hunter Renfrow. Justin Ross was on that team.
Yeah, what's his name? Amari
Rogers, Darion Kendrick, DeAndre Overton.
Renfrow gone?
No, Renfrow was there. It was Renfrow's senior season. Or no, wait a minute. Yeah, it was. I think so. No, he was on the team. He caught 5 balls for 80 yards. I'm looking at him on the box score right now.
In 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So. But I mean, you look at it. Look at all that talent.
Well, that's your thing, and we've talked about that before. That's kind of what's holding them back right now. You don't have those. You don't have the receivers.
No.
That you had, and people were giving me shit because I said Antonio Williams hits the transfer portal. I thought he did hit the transfer portal. He was supposed to be hitting it, and he didn't.
I thought he did. Did he?
I guess he didn't, because there was no shortage of them. A couple of videos back, about 10 of them told me that Antonio Williams had not hit the transfer portal. So I do apologize.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he was probably thinking about it. If I thought that he did, there was some smoke out there somewhere that he was going to or he was about to. I wouldn't have just made that up out of thin air.
Hold on, let's see here. This is from, when was this from? This is from this season. So hold on.
Yeah, Bo Collins did. And
yeah, I'm trying to see here. Yeah, he was in rehab and everything else for his shoulder, and he, Bo Collins. But even that, man, it's like,
Oh, Wind Model 88 Guns and Outdoors. You're in Central PA in the Susquehanna Valley, dude. That is crazy because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go off on a tangent here. When we went to Pennsylvania the past few years, since 2017, really, we stayed in the Pocono Mountains in Shawnee Valley. I didn't go last year. Just I mean, things happen with the chip route and all that, and I just wasn't able to get the vacation time when I wanted to, so we didn't go. We ended up going to Florida in October, but we always go to the Shawnee Valley, but we'll go and drive all the way up to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we'll stay the night Saturday night somewhere near there because my wife likes to go to Hershey. She goes to outlet malls. She really likes that, and I found a new route from Harrisburg to the Poconos. You really kind of go out the interstate, and then you go to Allentown, right, and then you go up this highway that goes through Easton, Wind Gap, and some other places, and it goes to the Poconos. But you can also take like a backward road, like a 2-lane highway from Harrisburg up through the mountains across the top of that part of Pennsylvania, kind of like running parallel to the interstate, but you're about 30 miles above it. Went through some towns like called Pine Mountain. What was that other? Schuylkill Haven. And this whole area and there was another town too that there was like a 1-acre plot of land that I actually looked at online, and I looked at it in this real estate book. It was $15,000, and I actually thought about purchasing this because I had some extra money after my father passed away, and I was like, this might be a good investment. But anyway, I didn't do it, but it was in this town. But that was in 2020, the first time I'd ever taken that country road. And I know we don't get political here on the show, but I'm going to do it anyway. I was really surprised because I thought Pennsylvania was a big time blue state. I was like so shocked at the number of Trump flags and stickers and all this stuff going up this route through these Pennsylvania back country towns in support of Donald Trump then in like July of 2020. So so that was kind of crazy, but anyway, that is some beautiful country there. That's a place that I would absolutely love to live there. My jobs in retail and route sales, I don't know that it would translate to finding something there for employment, but I'm telling you what now, if it would, I'd drop everything and I'd move there, and I'd be the biggest gamecock in the state of Pennsylvania. I'd be
well, that's because you're probably the only one. So
I bet you I wouldn't. Gamecocks are worldwide, really. It's not just a national brand. It's recognized, sir.
The kids up there can't wear Gamecock shirts because they think it just means cock in school.
That's disrespectful, but okay.
It's true.
I'm watching the OKC Thunder in San Antonio right now, and the Thunder have the Love's Travel Stop logo right here, like really big on their chesticles. Wow. And this arena, this San Antonio is like half empty. They're really, really bad though, aren't they? The Spurs.
Yeah, they're bad. They got that Victor Wembanyama guy who's like 7'7" tall, and he's supposed to be great, but I don't know. We'll see.
Their floor is absolutely horrible. Why did they go away from the black and silver color scheme? They now have like this turquoise, brown, and orange. It's ugly, dude.
They want to try to get with the kids.
Okay, well,
fucking NBA is weird with that shit. They do these things with ugly ass floors and ugly ass because they think that the kids are going to be jumping in on it, but what they don't realize
back in the 90s, did Tim with Tim Duncan and all, did they win the NBA Finals one year? They did, didn't they?
The Spurs had like a 2-year stretch where they won it twice. So yeah, Matt's right. It's a temporary court. It's just I don't know why they do that shit.
Okay. Well, number 24 for the Spurs, who's shooting a foul shot right now, has also got the Michie Johnson pineapple haircut. So whatever Kentucky fan that made fun of that, yeah, a lot of the kids are wearing it. It's just his braids pulled up on top of his head. It's no different than a white girl wearing a bun on her head. So if you want to make fun of him, I'm sure some of your Kentucky players have worn the pineapple as well. But
all these motherfuckers that are calling it the pineapple haircut or whatever, they would say that shit to Michie Johnson's face because he'd slap the dog shit out of him.
Oh, he's a shit talker, man. I love it. I mean, he's got some freaking swagger about him. He's got some some fuck you attitude, and I like that. I like to see that. Especially when we're doing good at something. Somebody with a little bit of toot. Not as long as you don't have too much of it. Because too much of it's annoying and it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But as long as you use it sparingly and to your advantage, it's all good.
Well, we've had a great show this evening. I'm picking the Lions to win. Who have you got, Jackpot?
Yeah, at home, that's a really good story, and I think they do. I think they do.
Well, they're actually on the road at San Francisco, so they're playing there.
Oh God, what am I thinking about, man? I'm thinking about them playing the Bucs last week. I'm lost. They're at San Francisco.
They're a 7-point dog. I think that they cover. And
I think they might
win.
cover, but I don't think they win. I think we're going to have a San Francisco. I think we're going to have a Deebo Samuel versus J.D. Clowney. I was coming in when you were going out type Super Bowl.
Well, we'll see how that goes, but
we both played for Steve Spurrier, and one of us had the unfortunate task of playing for Will Muschamp.
I've got the Ravens to win, and I think.
I wonder if Clowney gets up to him thing and say, "Man, after I left, man, they shit on you, bro."
Yeah. And then
you play with that old funky ass coach.
Yeah, you play with that shit dick coach, and then I've got the Lions winning over the Niners outright. So there you go. There's our picks.
They could, they could. I mean, it's wild, but yeah. I think it's going to be San Fran and Baltimore in that Super Bowl.
We'll see how that goes, man. All right, Jackpot, good show. We'll talk with you guys later on. Have a good night.
See you later, gang.